Hello and welcome to the news at 7, where we get to the heart of the day's stories and communities right across Scotland. Tonight, England looks set to ban energy drinks for under 16s. Should Scotland do the same? Sugary and full of caffeine, we ask one doctor what effect these drinks could have on our health. Also tonight, the scammers targeting pensioners. We will, of course, have all of the sport with Lewis. Lewis, what's in the cards tonight? Lovely stuff. And you may take our lives, but you will never take our Braveheart. We look back on the iconic film 30 years on. Hello, I'm Sarah McMullan and welcome to the news at 7. Hello, tonight we're looking at the issue of energy drinks. Bright coloured, big cans we're used to seeing in most of our shops. Most contain caffeine and a lot of sugar. Well, today it was announced they're being banned for all under 16s living in England because of the effects that they're having on young people's health. And Scotland had looked at introducing a ban here too, but scrapped it. But is it time to revisit the policy? Here's what some young people think about it. OK, well, thank you for joining us on tonight's News at 7. We have much more for you coming up in the programme, including... Now, older people are being warned about a surge in scam messages relating to winter heating payments. Age Scotland issued the warning over scam texts that urged people to apply now for winter heating support from the Department for Work and Pensions. In Scotland, the payment is handled by Social Security Scotland and for the vast majority of people is automatic. Well, our reporter Ian Hamilton visited a centre in Glasgow to ask people there if they'd received any of these messages. OK, well, let's talk a bit more about these scams now with Adam Stahura from Age Scotland. Evening, Adam. Hello. Just tell me about how much of an impact has this scam had? Why is it working?
Yes.
And so tell us, what sort of effect can this have in people, especially a bit later in life if you're feeling particularly vulnerable? And this is just one example, though, isn't it? Is this something we're seeing increasingly become more common?
Vaccines or other things, so scammers will prey on that this.
So if you're watching this tonight and you're a bit unsure, you think you might have received a scam text or you have an elderly relative and you're concerned for them, what would the advice be? OK, great advice, Adam. Thank you very much for joining us and talking us through all of that. We appreciate it. Now, elsewhere tonight, summer might have come to an end and a holiday might feel like a distant memory, but hotels in the Highlands say they're struggling to staff their facilities. The head of a Highland hotel group says they've been forced to buy another property to house their staff because attracting hotel workers to the region has become increasingly difficult. Andrew Thompson has this story. Now it's time to get a roundup of the stories which are making the BBC News app here in Scotland today. A 16-year-old boy has been arrested over the death of a 22-year-old man on a street in Edinburgh. Emergency services attended Great Junction Street in the early hours of Tuesday. Nursing staff at Borders General Hospital have been criticised for leaving a dying man in unnecessary pain. Roy Owen was receiving palliative care but was regularly denied pain relief. Elsewhere, 3 men have been jailed for running a cannabis factory at a derelict shopping centre in Irvine. Officers were tipped off by Scottish Power, who had concerns about energy use at the site. A new cycle hire scheme has launched in Edinburgh. Swedish firm Wasp has 50 electric bikes across an 8-kilometre area. And the scenic West Highland Railway is to get a £15 million upgrade. The line features the famous Glenfinnan Viaduct, which you've seen in the Harry Potter films. Well, for much more on all of these stories, you can scan the QR code, which you can see there on the screen for you now. That takes you to the BBC Scotland News app. There's much more there for you, including this story, how one farmer believes 5 of his Shetland pony foals were taken by sea eagles. Now, are you battle cry ready? Well, it's been 30 years since the Hollywood blockbuster Braveheart came out. The movie, starring, directed and produced by the actor Mel Gibson, won 5 Oscars for its depiction of William Wallace and the First War of Scottish Independence against King Edward I of England. Here's a bit of a refresher for you. Well, it's a classic, but 30 years on, what do some people think of the film now? Well, at the time, the world premiere was held in Stirling and it's home to the Wallace Monument. So what's its legacy been? Suzanne Allen spoke to Jenny Steele from Visit Scotland, and a warning for you now that this report does contain some flashing images.
And Sarah, I'll bring tomorrow's sport from Copenhagen. Lucky me, I'm getting to go over there.
Lucky you indeed. Took the words right out my mouth. Thank you very much, Lewis. Thank you. Now, in just a few weeks' time, we'll find out the winners of the Make a Difference Awards. Before the awards, though, we're showing you some of the finalists and their stories. This evening, we bring you Colin Morrison. That was Colin Morrison speaking there. And the winners of the awards will be announced at a ceremony at the end of September. And we will, of course, be there to tell you who's won. Good luck to all the finalists. OK, now it's time for a look at our weather forecast. And, of course, Christopher Blanchett is here. What's on offer today?
Well, there was a lot of rain around for some of us today, but actually something drier coming up in the forecast.
Goodness.
Let me explain.
Please do.
First, some weather watcher photos. Well, a bit murky.
Thank you very much. And that is all from us here tonight. I'll be back at the same time tomorrow, and Lewis will be in Copenhagen ahead of that big build-up for the Scotland v Denmark game. We'll see you then. Bye-bye. Hello there, good evening. Older people are being warned to be on the lookout for scammers pretending to help them get their heating benefits. Age Scotland say they've seen an increase in people being contacted and told to apply to the Department of Work and Pensions, even though it doesn't actually handle that fund. Most people entitled to get heating benefits will do so automatically, as Ian Hamilton now reports. Elsewhere tonight, a man who faked his death and fled to Spain after being accused of sexual offences has been convicted of raping 2 women. A man who died after being found injured on a street in Edinburgh has been named by police. Now, health experts are urging the Scottish Government to ban the sale of energy drinks to under-16s here. It comes as England looks set to introduce the measure there. UK ministers say it could prevent obesity in up to 40,000 children, as well as help to avoid anxiety and a lack of concentration too. Hope Webb has the story. And finally, 30 years since the blockbuster Braveheart premiered in Stirling, has still been credited with attracting large numbers of visitors. Time to take a look at the weather forecast for you now. And Christopher's with us. Good evening.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks very much for now.
Lovely stuff, Christopher. Thank you very much. And that's all from us here this evening. For myself and all the team, thanks for joining us. Good night.